Hi, everyone. Um, so I thought to do something different today, rather than going through a presentation and giving you more information that you've probably been observing and absorbing around you. I thought of having a conversation. So raise your hand over here if any of you have been to school, college, university, right? And any of you studied for applied sciences like medicine, architecture, engineering? Okay. Any of you interested over here in studying business? Okay. So I have some news for you. More often than not, if you were looking to study to become, let's say, a doctor, more often than not, your teacher would be an experienced doctor. And the same would apply when you're talking about engineering or any other applied science as such. But when it comes to business, question this: are the people who are teaching you business successful business people? Have they ever launched a business themselves? It's a question to ask. I mean, you might wonder if they were successful at running a business, what are they doing teaching in the university or the college, right? Um, so that's the dilemma. And because of that dilemma, I'm here. I do this because I have had an immense wealth of experience. I have launched over 100 plus companies, have over 30 plus active companies, valued over $350 million. But that wasn't just a smooth sailing story. I have had immense number of successes, but I've also had immense number of failures. And what I have done in that duration is amassed a wealth of experience. And I'm here to share some experience with you, my story with you. I'm not here to give you necessarily an advice, but I want to give you something that will leave you with a thought. Why do you want to go to a university? Let's start that. Anyone? Raise your hand. Why do you want to go to a university? Or why did you go to a university if you've already been to one? So you. Yeah. Why did you go to university? Great. For the degree. That's a good answer. Anyone else? You, madam? Socializing. All right. Anyone else? Okay. More often than not, the answer is usually something along the lines of a degree, which is fair enough. And why a degree? To get a job. From the time we have been born, this is something unfortunate that has been instilled in us from the previous generations. Study, where you go to school, so that you get good grades, so that you get an admission in a great university, so that you get a great job. As parents, have you ever considered asking your kids, what about creating jobs? Why should a child go to university just to get a good job? Why can a child not go to university to create jobs? So, the why of going to a university being a job is actually the what. It is not really a why. Why has to be something more deeper, more meaningful. It has to be something that is about creating value. Now, when you think about it, it's easier said than done. Oh, it's we need the money to come in, we need a job to pay the bills. But entrepreneurship and running a business is not easy. It requires money, it requires investment. Yes and no. For those who know the skills of being an entrepreneur, they would be willing to tell you that having money is not a necessity to running a business. Even having a vision is sufficient because there are enough people out there with money who want to invest their money in great ideas. Be it Steve Jobs, right? Bill Gates, they weren't multimillionaires when they started off. They didn't require a lot of money. They raised money. They raised money from investors. Mark Zuckerberg, he raised money. Raising money is the easiest thing if you have a great business idea. So the why of why do you want to go to a university has to be something meaningful. It should be something that relates back to creating value. Why not go to a university to learn skills that will enable you to create jobs? Right? I want to share my personal story with you. So I'm born and raised here in the UAE, and at the age of about 8 years old, I used to visit my dad's business, which was in the Gold Souk, a retail store, during the summer vacations. And one of the primary reasons for visiting the shop was getting to spend some time with him. But secondly, it was an air conditioned shop. And for those who have grown up here in the 80s and 90s, know what that can mean. We had souks out here which were not air conditioned, but having a shop which was air conditioned meant something, right? Especially in the summer. So, what used to happen is on my way from the parking lot to the shop, we would cross this cafe. It was a small cafe, had a vending machine serving a softy, vanilla, and a chocolate ice cream, and a popcorn machine. And me, an 8-year-old child passing by, would notice from the corner of my eye that someone was taking popcorn or ice cream and handing out some shiny coins. By the way, we're talking of a time when we didn't have Apple Pay and credit cards were not that common for cafeteria usages. So, as a kid, I got attracted to those shiny coins. I got attracted to the paper notes that were being circulated. So, when I went to the shop, I would stare at the coins and the notes that were sitting in the registry. And I realized that it is all about money. Cash is king. If I had that money, I could buy the ice cream that I wanted. And by the time I grew up to be about 10 to 12 years old, I wanted to earn money because now I wanted things. I was still going to the souk, I would see the fancy toys and the fancy shoes. But my father did not just hand out money to me, he gave me an opportunity in the form of a job. Clean the store for 1 dirham. That was my opportunity. And I took it and I grabbed it. And I'm glad I did. One, it put money in my pocket. Two, it taught me how to be humble. I had to work for 5 days a week to get my 5 dirhams because the toy that I wanted was for 5 dirhams. And that cycle became the connection between an opportunity, having the ability to clean, that was the skill, and earning the money. As I grew, my needs grew. It was no longer about the 5 dirham toy, it was more about some clothes and shoes, which probably costs a lot more. And I had to figure out how am I going to earn more money? Because by cleaning the shop, I was still only going to earn 1 dirham. And that's where I seeked more opportunity. I understood the concept of bookkeeping, reconciliation, bank deposits. This was happening at the age of 12, not because someone was sending me to school. I did not I don't think I even knew there was a subject called accounting at that point in my life, by the way. It was all boiling down to me seeking opportunities whereby it was a clear understanding. The more complex the problem that I'm solving, and the better my skill at solving it, the more money I can earn. And my maximum income started coming from being a runner to the goldsmith when we had to resize rings and jewelry for the clients because they would leave me tips. And all of a sudden, I could be walking away with 20 to 30 dirhams for a work of 30 minutes. Right? And that transformed my mind. It made me question about what more complex things can I do. So I grew up to wanting to deposit money to the bank. I would go to the bank and question, why do we write checks? How do we write checks? What is bank reconciliation? What do you mean there's a ledger? What do you mean the cash went there? What do you mean I can still use it? Why is it the way it is? And it was not because someone asked me to find out, but it was because I was curious. I was curious to know why. And that helped me. And that's where the mindset changed. The understanding that as a kid, I was probably chasing those shiny coins, which was money. But what would truly matter in life was to chase those opportunities, was to make sure that I have enough skills to identify those opportunities, to make sure that I have enough skills and knowledge to be able to make something out of that opportunity to let the money follow and chase me. Today, I stand amongst you. And one thing that I do truly hold on to is that you can take away all the money, right? You can take away all the businesses. But what you can't take away is the know how. And the know how of being able to identify an opportunity and the skills that I've acquired and learned over the years to be able to do something about that opportunity. Coming back to the question of you going to university. So, does university not matter? Should we all not study? No, that's not true. There is a great experience that you're all going to get as a part of your university experience. The friendships you will forge, right? My net worth is my network. The first thing I'm going to do if something happens to me is reach out to my network. And most of that network started getting established at university. So when you go to university, do not go with an intent to grab a degree. Do not go with an intent to just attend a class. Go to university with an intent to learn skills. Learn skills that's going to be able to be applied in real life. Identify what skills are you going to learn that's going to help you solve real problems. What is it that the world needs resolved? What is it that you're going to be able to learn that will help solving it? University is a great place if you make the most out of it. Or it is the worst thing in terms of wasting your most valuable resource, your time. When you look back upon your life, you wish you had more time to do many things. And you do not want to be sitting in a regret that you did not make the most out of this time. The most out of this time is not going to come just from the party or just from by sticking your head into the book. It is going to come by being able to develop the skills that you're able to gain out there. While you're at universities, you can apply these skills in real life scenarios. Do you like gaming? Become a streamer. Start a YouTube channel. Learn how to edit content, right? Someone over here likes shopping? Yeah? Why don't you start a pop up store online? Utilize your skills while you're at university. Pursue your hobbies to make a business out of it. If you're having fun doing it, it will never feel like work to you. I stand here amongst you not because I'm asked to, because I want to, because I truly enjoy giving back my experience to all of you. And I'm fully aware that the blessing I have had in my life is that I was in a fortunate position, environment with the right people surrounding me to guide me, which many people unfortunately don't have. If you don't come from a family business background, you don't probably understand what it takes to run a business. So when you go to school and when you go to university, make sure you're not out there learning the subject only. You're learning the ability to convert it into a business. You're learning the ability to solve problems that can then translate into ideas for operating businesses. Do not be one more suit for the sake of being a suit. Be the person that's actually going to be creating jobs. University and education can be great if utilized right. Otherwise, a degree is just a piece of paper that will mean nothing to you after many years. No one has ever asked me what was my grade in school. No one has asked me what was my grade in university. I was an honors student, just by the way. But that was because I was interested in learning, not because I was good at studies. I was interested in learning what they had to teach. So, on a parting note, what I would like to share with you, if nothing else sticks, for anyone and everyone out here who has been chasing money or thought money is the destination, I want to leave you with a reality check. Money is not the destination. One, acquire knowledge, know how, through either education, experience, so that you have developed your skills. When you will have skills and know how, you will be able to identify opportunities and not be afraid of pursuing opportunities. If you have never done skydiving, you're probably going to be afraid of skydiving. But if you've done it enough times, you're no longer afraid of it. That's the same logic. Fear is nothing but facing the unknown. When you don't know something, that's what you're afraid of. When you understand what are the consequences, you are no longer afraid of it. And that's what education and skills and knowledge and know how can translate to. Having that to identify the opportunity and making the most out of it. The minute you do that, you no longer have to chase money. Money comes and kisses your feet. Thank you.